Okay, this is now tarot lesson number 112, and today's episode is really exciting, I think. So I'll begin with a little bit about court cards and how to read them, and then we're going to look at Hermann Hesse, but we'll get to that. So, court cards. Let's say somebody wants to know, am I going to meet somebody and have a relationship? And you do 3 cards for a yes, no. So the first one we get is the 3 of Cups, and then we get the 4 of Coins, maybe, upside down, and then with the last card is the Page of Cups. So in our yes-no spread, the first and the third cards count for 1. If it's upright, it means yes. If it's upside down, it means no. The one in the middle counts for 2. So here we've got yes, no, no, yes. So the answer is maybe. So am I going to meet somebody? Maybe. And we talk about the 3 of Cups, the 4 of Coins reversed, and the Page of Cups. So this can be, yes, there is a, you're going to meet, if you're going to meet somebody at all and have a relationship, it's going to be happy and good, and you're sociable and you're friendly and you've got lots of things to celebrate and you enjoy each other's company, all because we've got 3 people celebrating in the 3 of Cups. What sort of person is it going to be? It's going to be the Page of Cups, somebody youthful, poetic, mystical, emotional, imaginative, because he's looking at a fish in a cup. So there's that. Those 2 indicate yes, but the one in the middle is upside down. It means no. So because it's coins, maybe it's that you want somebody who is wealthy or who has potential to earn a lot of money, and this person is too much of a poet and not that interested in financial matters. That's one way of looking at the 4 of Cups upside down. Or if we take coins as representing values, what you care about, then you're going to meet this person, but they're 50% okay, but they're also 50%, they're on a different path from you, or they're in a different trajectory, or they're more interested in things that you're not interested in because it's coins and it's upside down. You're not on the same page, so to speak. So the answer is maybe. If the card had been upright, yes, you're going to meet somebody and you've got reason to celebrate. You're on the same page. You are concerned about the same things. You want security. The other person wants security. You're just looking at the person holding on to the coins. And it's the Page of Cups in the future, or not in the future. The Page of Cups is the kind of person you're going to meet. So the person may say, do I already know the person? And so what do? If you've already got cups, then yes, it's likely that you already know the person. Because you have to remember that somebody's asking you a question, but they know what they're going through and what they've been through. So maybe the person says, am I going to meet somebody? But what they mean is, I like the look of this person. Is anything going to happen? But they're not asking that. They're asking, am I going to meet somebody? It's because maybe they've got an idea about the kind of person they're looking for or the kind of person they would want. And because you've got cups in there and cups already here, because we turned this one first, second and third. So the fact that the same suit, cups and cups, has already appeared in the spread is one way of thinking, okay, yes, you already know the person or you've already met them. But the thing is, you, the reader, don't need to know that at the time of turning the cards, because the person may not ask, do I already know the person? So you don't need to tell them or go out on a limb by talking about you already know the person. If you look at the cup and then the cup and think, okay, you probably know the person or it's somebody you've already met, then okay, you can do that. But you don't have to tell people answers to questions that they haven't asked. But we sort of maybe feel that we've got to talk about everything that may be connected with the question, but somehow we don't. Whereas, so we've got the Page of Cups here. If we'd got, are you going to meet somebody, and you got the Queen of Swords? Yes, there's somebody there, but it's a different kind of individual than you already know or are comfortable with. So because you've got cups and coins and then swords, it's a different suit. So here you've got people you like to hang around with and like to celebrate with. Maybe you like to go out drinking, or you like to spend a couple of hours in a bar and just chat about this and that. The Four of Coins, you talk about what you care about. But with the Queen of Swords and as representing the individual that you're going to meet, then this is a different kind of individual. So you're going to have different kinds of conversations with this person than if it had been, let's say, the Page of Cups. Or this person that you're going to meet is going to bring about change in your life, because you're used to friendship and talking about the same things, but this person is going to introduce you to new ideas or new people or new habits or new expectations, because we're dealing with swords. Maybe it's the people you know already are sociable and friendly and security conscious, but this person has been through it. Maybe because they've got a sword, maybe they've been through experiences where they felt that they had to defend themselves in some way, because it's a sword, which is a weapon. And let me just look at the time here. Okay, so that's something about that. So the second part, I want you to get to this. So there's a writer called Hermann Hesse who got the Nobel Prize for Literature in, I think, 1946. And so I think he got the Nobel Prize for his last book, which was The Glass Bead Game, in German. He was German-Swiss. So, and he died in like 1962. So The Glass Bead Game, I came across an introduction to the book in which I'm going to quote what the author of the article, the introductory article, said, because Hermann Hesse is interesting. So he said that it's like we need a new morality, because we're brought up to believe in good and evil, but it's not enough. It's not good enough anymore. He was writing in 1945, 46. So he'd seen what happened in Europe and the rest of the world. And you've got priests on one side saying, go and kill the enemy because you're doing God's work. And you've got priests on the other side saying, go and kill the enemy because you're doing God's work. Somehow it doesn't work. It doesn't compute. Anyway, so Hermann Hesse said and wrote in his books that we need a new morality, want something that's beyond good and evil, which gets me back to lesson number 1, if you remember, where the lovers fell out, which shows Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. And you've got good and evil. You're told not to eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, but you're supposed to eat from the tree of life. Unity, number 1, a single tree. So Hesse said, and I've got it written down here. I hope that's big enough to read, and I've got it here. So he said, the child is born into a state of unity with all being. We're all born into a state of unity. And if you remember, Mary Poppins, the book about the book of Mary Poppins, it turned into the movie. The children were told that the children could talk to animals, and they were told that one day they would wake up and they would forget that they'd ever been able to talk to animals, and they didn't believe it. And then one day they woke up and they had no recollection of being able to talk to animals. So I've got a grandson who at the moment is a year and a couple of months. And so experts on child development can look and they think they know what's going on with a child's mind. We don't know. I look at the 1-year-old looking at the world. I don't know what he sees or what he's aware of. Maybe he looks at people and sees auras. Or maybe he looks at people and is aware of unity, because, as Hesse said, the child is born into a state of unity with all being, a single tree of life. But what happens? It is only when the child is taught about good and evil that he advances to a second level of individuation characterized by despair and alienation. Think about your friends and the kinds of conversations that you have, or the kinds of conversations that people you know have, and it's despair and alienation, and they're not happy, and they're sick, and they're getting worse, and things are not getting better. It's kind of like that in the world. A child, an infant, doesn't look like that. An infant is not living in a world of good and evil. So, for the child has been made aware of laws and moral codes, but feels incapable of adhering to the arbitrary standards established by conventional religious and moral systems, since they exclude so much of what seems perfectly natural. Think about parents disciplining children. Don't do this, don't do that, stop doing this, stop doing that. And the child is just doing something and living a natural life. So parents tell children to stop doing that, but they can't explain why you're supposed to stop doing that. And so it's not surprising that children get confused, because they're doing what for them is perfectly natural and normal. And yet this big person, this authority figure, is telling us to stop because what they're doing isn't right in some way. So it's hardly surprising that people are messed up. So that's kind of what is going on in the world. And that's why we need a new morality. And that's why we get back to the child, unity with all things. So the next paragraph, next point is this. A few men, like the hero Siddhartha. Siddhartha was a book that Hesse wrote. And those whom Hesse calls the immortals in Steppenwolf, another book that he wrote, managed to attain a third level of awareness where they are once again capable of accepting all being. And this reminds me of Scorpio, because Scorpio is the snake that knows its own environment. Then it's the scorpion, which is maybe the desire to take revenge or to be cruel to people. Then they naturally morph into the eagle, which sees from a distance, is separate from the world and not connected with it, and not subject to the world's ups and downs, but sees clearly what's going on. And this is like the third level of awareness, where they're once again capable of accepting all being. And then the last point is here, most men and women are condemned to live on the second level. And this, listen to this, sustained only by a sense of humour, through which they neutralise oppressive reality, and by an active imagination through which they share from time to time the kingdom of the immortals, the realm of spirit. So, we've got step 1, which is the snake. Step 2, the scorpion, which is dangerous. And step 3, the eagle, which sees clearly what's going on and sees the bigger picture. And it seems to me, the reason I'm talking about this is because I think if you are interested in the tarot, you are in some way going for what Siddhartha went. Siddhartha's the Buddha. You're going for an overview, or you're going for a spiritual understanding, because you recognize that good and evil is not the way to go, because too much of it is not natural, or it's incorrect, or it doesn't make sense, or it's just a power trip on the part of the authority figure. Whereas I think with the tarot, because you connect with a different kind of reality, and because you're looking for deeper answers, or looking for answers that most people aren't looking for, that's why, or how you connect with what Hesse says at the end about you share from time to time the kingdom of the immortals. So, is this any good? And so I'm going to pick a card. But we have to remember, or I have to remember, I'm not asking for permission, because we do that a lot. When we ask a question of the tarot, we sort of want to know, is it a good idea? Is it going to work out? Is it going to be successful? And you've been bamboozled into thinking there's good and evil and that you need permission. You don't. Obviously, if you want to, beat your neighbor over the head with a brick, that's not a good thing to do, even though you might feel justified. I'm not talking about extreme violence or extremes, but just generally speaking, we don't need to ask permission. Where we want to know is what's Herman Hesse about? Is he any good? And I turn a card, and I don't know what I'm looking for. Is he any good? I get the strength card upright. With Herman Hesse, we're learning strength. We're developing strength. We've got the woman in white representing purity, closing the mouth of a lion. And the lion is Leo and ego and big-headedness and full stubbornness and pig-headedness. That kind of stubborn, wanting your own way for no good reason, apart from the fact that you want to control other people. Whereas here we've got the ideas that I've been talking about here of the childlike sense of unity with all being, and then how we're, I can't think of the word, how we're talked out of it, like the children in Mary Poppins. We would forget what we knew as infants, and we agree with the world because it's bigger than we are. But Hesse was right. Or if you follow the ideas that Hesse was about, then you develop strength and spiritual understanding, because that's what is important. And that's what the strength card is about. So that was that, number 112. And I've run out of things to say, so I'll leave you to it. Thanks for listening, watching, and we'll see you next time. Okay, bye-bye.